Chapter 3, Why Do We Even Think? I think and think and think. I've thought myself out of happiness 1,000,000 times, but never once into it. Jonathan Safran Foer. Man, that's dope. We as humans have evolved to develop a sophisticated ability to rationalize, analyze, and think because it simply helped us survive. Our minds do an incredible job to keep us alive, but it does not help us thrive. It is concerned solely with our safety and survival, but not our fulfillment or joy. The mind's job is to alert us of potential dangers in our environment that may threaten our lives. It does its job so well that not only will it scan our immediate surroundings for threats, but it will even reference our backlog of past experiences to create hypothetical scenarios and predict what it thinks could be future potential danger based on our memories. None of this is wrong by any means. The mind is simply doing what it is designed to do. When we don't understand that its only duty is to help us survive, then we will get angry and frustrated with it. All conflict is derived from an innocent misunderstanding. Our mind's duty is to keep us alive. Our consciousness's duty is to help us to feel fulfilled. Your soul is the reason why you are even on this journey in the first place, to find peace, love, and joy for yourself. Your mind has done an amazing job at what it was made to do, but now you may relieve it of its job because we no longer live in the wild where death could be right around the corner or in a bush. If we keep using our minds, we will constantly stay in a state of fight or flight, anxiety, fear, frustration, depression, anger, resentment, and all negative emotions because the mind thinks everything is a threat to our very existence. If you want to be free, happy, peaceful, and full of love, then you will need to let go of listening only to your mind and go beyond it by turning into something much greater that will help you not just survive, but to thrive. I can hear you now. Most people around here barely surviving, and you talking about thriving. It's what you were designed for. It's what you were born for. It's what you were created for. It's what you are. That quote is one of the hardest and most truest quotes I've probably ever read in my life. I think and I think and I think. That's all of us. Every time we encounter anything, all we're doing is thinking so much to the point that we're not present with what we're encountering because we get so consumed with our thoughts. I think and I think and I think. I've thought myself out of happiness 1,000,000 times, but never once have I thought myself into it. That's true about you. That's true about me. Every time you went into the inner recesses of yourself and tried to pull from your desires satisfaction, you wound up just as discontent as you started when you began listening to the legion of voices tell you from the darkness what the path to light was. How can an illusion feed me truth? How can a liar give me factual information? How can a deceiver be honest? But when you don't know your ego is a liar, you don't know your ego is a deceiver, you don't know that your feelings are survival mechanisms that were passed down genetically from your ancestors who actually lived amongst immediate danger. Ain't nobody even bothering you. Nobody's checking for you. No, people don't have time to plan elaborate, premeditated attacks on you. Not for the most part. I'm not saying nobody's on that, but I'm saying for the most part, people ain't got time for that. But when you get something in your mind, it hardens into fact. So when you get it in your mind that somebody is after you and pursuing you constantly to cause harm to you, you actually perceive these things all around you. Now you become suspicious of people who are actually trying to help you, people who are actually there trying to love and care for you. We love to reference our thoughts as if there's something that we have. But to be honest, if most of us were being genuine and we were being accurate with our analysis, we would come to the conclusion that our thoughts have us for the most part. The lowly mind of the survival was developed in the darkness and the unawareness of the true creation and design of mankind. So we now, just like this chapter says, find that the mechanism that we depended on for our survival is no longer necessary because we're not even trying to survive. We're setting out to thrive. And this mechanism does not lead to thriving. It leads to fear, anxiety, depression, anger, resentment, and negative emotions based on itself drawing conclusions from itself and its past knowledge, and then attaching feelings to these conclusions and causing you to rehearse them and play them in front of you even when they're not even going on anymore. This is why, just like the book says, we have to open up our consciousness, because it is our consciousness's duty to help us feel fulfilled. Our soul is the only reason that we are on this journey in the first place, to find peace, love, and joy for yourself, not to create it or make it out of nothing for someone else. You are here to discover what is rightfully yours by birthright. And it's going to be much easier when you are willing to admit what the years of crawling around in the darkness on your hands and knees, feeling your way through, caused you to develop some self-destructive habits. You can't sit with negative emotions and not be negatively affected. You can't hold negative emotions towards someone else and it not negatively affect you. Nelson Mandela said, resentment is like drinking poison, hoping that it kills my enemy. Most of us are yet to make the shift from surviving to thriving, and we actually have set out and based our lives on survival. We go to jobs that we hate to feed kids that we grow to resent as we come into the awareness that we forfeited our dreams for their existence, and they have no ability to show appreciation for that. We tolerate people that don't treat us well because we have a fear that without this person, our survival is at stake. We eat things that we know aren't good for us because we have the idea that to eat healthy is too expensive or outside of my reach. So if I don't eat anything, then my survival would be at stake. When people attacked you verbally, you wouldn't be so emotional and be so reactive if you would take the time to realize that your survival is not at stake. You are being rejected by a reject, and that is not something to be angry about. Someone in front of me doesn't know who they are, so they're misidentifying me. I'm going to be upset about that? No, I completely understand. I get why you see me that way. I appreciate you for letting me know who you think I am because you just told me who you are. Now I can better navigate and maneuver around you. There is a lesson for you in everything, but oftentimes we are too emotional and too distracted by the legion of voices to see the lesson, hear the lesson, interpret the lesson, and apply the lesson to our lives. So we keep going through the same cycle of tests and challenges as our inner source tries to reveal to us a blind spot that we refuse to see. And we say cliche things like God will never leave nor forsake us, but we don't understand the reality of such universal principles. We don't understand that this is an expression of the inner teacher's relentlessness to get across to you what it is that you came to learn, what you came to discover. To wrap it up, I bumped into an interesting word tonight: distraction. Distraction. The definition for traction is the action of drawing or pulling something over a surface. I think if we could see each other tonight, we all would agree collectively that we all have the desire to progress and move forward in life. But we are so used to the tug-of-war version of existence that we've settled for as we toggle back and forth between illusions and truth. The prefix dis means not or opposite of. Now put it together. Distractions stop all traction towards my purpose and my aim. And this just reveals the childish nature of many other things that we request, which is why universal principle states, once again, we have not because we ask not, and when we ask amiss. You get wrapped up in your emotions and you begin to ask for things that come with consequences that you would never want in your experience. But we weren't taught to be honest about this. We were taught to play the blame game. We were taught to find exterior sources of our pain as we hold on to it exclusively, with no one holding us hostage and making us do it. To me, it's insanity to hate a person for something that they did to you that you won't stop rehearsing and reciting in your mind. If they did it to you one time and you keep talking to yourself about it, having a negative reaction, sitting inside of negative emotions that are filling your body with toxins, then who is it that you should be angry and upset with? Who is it that you should actually turn your hatred towards? I would say you should turn it towards this illusionary version of yourself that thinks that someone else can hurt you and thinks that there's a justifiable reason for holding on to hostile and hateful feelings towards another human being. We think about what we think about. We think about what we talk about. We think about what we hear. We think about what we intake through our eyesight. We think all day, and we think that there's value in our thoughts. But what we fail to take the time to recognize is every new thought that we have comes from the reserve of our past information and experiences. So every new thought is just an old thought refashioned and put back in front of me. And I'm so asleep oftentimes that it appears to me to be a new solution. We coming out of our thoughts and we stepping into reality where thinking is not even necessary because I am so caught up in the experience of being who I was designed to be. And I was not designed to understand intellectually. If I was designed to understand intellectually, then universal principle probably would not have guided me to lean not to my own understanding. Posture is super important. What if we have such a hard time staying awake because we're always leaning on our own understanding instead of standing firm, fast on the truth? Like